Hey guys, what's going on? It's Keinan Briggs. Let's talk about this current issue that popped up a couple days ago, and it's that the Diamond League has made a decision within their specific league to take away four events. Um, so let's talk about these things. The four events that were taken out of their normal program is the 200, the discus, the steeplechase, and the triple jump. Now, if you're listening to this podcast or conversation, you already know that where I have a bias is going to be in the triple jump. And so before I reacted to the extraction of these events, I wanted to dive in and really understand what's going on, the reasons why, and does it make sense, and what to do moving forward. So the Diamond League, for those who are unfamiliar with the Diamond League is a professional track and field circuit. There's typically 15 events throughout the track and field season, and it's just how your high school or college season is. It has multiple track meets across the world where you have people that register for it, they compete, and based off of their finishes, they get points. So if you get a first place, you get 10 points for your name, right? Then at the end of the season, there's a championship, and from there, you get bonus award money for not only winning or placing, but you get a bonus award money for your overall finish in the season. So let's just say you win first place every track meet. You've maxed out the amount of points that you can actually earn. So at the end, at the championship, you're awarded a bonus because you were literally the highest scoring person. So this is very symbolic to, you have dual meets, then you have a league championship for high school, right? Your dual meet, there's a dual meet champion, but there's also a league champion when it comes to the head-to-head championship, right? So the way that the Diamond League has set it up is they want to shorten the actual competition window, and they want to have track meets that start and finish within 90 minutes. So to make this happen is you have to cut out a lot of stuff. The normal high school track meet, if it's ran efficiently, can take upwards of 3 to 4 hours, depending on the competition, right? And many times, you only have a handful of athletes in the actual events. The reason why it takes longer is because there's 16 contested events amongst boys and girls. You also have the lower levels, as in frosh off, JV, and varsity. So you're running numerous heats. If you were to only have a varsity track meet and have it only be a dual meet between two high schools, one section of each thing, then the track meet could ideally be started and completed within 90 minutes. So what's happening is our current society is trending towards in and out. Track and field meets lasting 4, 5, 6 hours, and in some cases 2 weeks, right? Or even like state championship, 2 days. People don't have the attention span. So what Diamond League is doing is saying, listen, we can condense everything into an hour and a half by having 12 male events and 12 female events. And we'll have these athletes compete. We're in, we're out, we move on. And then now through these 15 track meets, we can get that going. And so what they did was they actually did a poll. They did a study and they said, okay, we want to know who likes which events. And obviously we can all agree that the mile, the 100-meter dash, long jump are some very high profile events. People are excited about it. And the reason why they're excited about it is because people can relate to it. Anyone that has an able body can run the 100-meter dash. Anyone that has able body can do the long jump, right? People who aren't as fast can easily run the mile. But then we get into the technical events, right? When we get into the technical events, this is where we start seeing the discrepancy and the loss of interest. So when they did this poll, essentially what they did was they said, we're going to assess the public, and they assessed certain countries. And the countries that they assessed, they looked at the click rate, the amount of interest that is in it. So it's not that they said, who likes long jump, raise your hand. It was, we're going to look at the analytics. How many clicks on long jump videos when it comes to the media are on long jump? How many clicks are in the 100-meter dash? How many clicks are in discus, and so on? And so what happened was the triple jump and the discus were the two least clicked events. So when you put this into layman's terms, they basically said, triple jump, you don't have enough followers. Discus, you don't have enough followers on your social media platforms, so we're going to have to get rid of you. Which is the dumbest thing ever, because for the sport of track and field, it's a genre. It's a genre, meaning that it's a whole world named track and field. And within the world, it has these, quote, countries, right? And so these countries are each individual sport. The 100-meter dash is not the 200. The 200 is not the steeplechase. People enjoy their specific sports. And just because one has a higher click ranking, or whatever you want to call it, than the other one, doesn't mean that it's not valuable. But speaking upon business, just business and straight numbers, there's a cost to running and having something aired on TV. And if we're looking at 2 hours of airtime, 2 hours of rental of the track facilities, 2 hours of paying our camera guys, 2 hours of paying for everything that makes these things work, the officials and so on, all these people that make this actually work, that costs money. And so what they're saying is, for us to open up the triple jump pit and run it for another hour and a half, it takes up time. And when it takes up time, we're losing money. And so that's one aspect of the perception that they have. The next part is, I want to go into so many details, but basically, Diamond League is doing whatever they're doing because they don't see this as a sport. They're looking at it as, how can we make money off of these people? They've taken our sport from us. So, for example, they created this league to benefit not the athletes. They said, listen, the Olympics brings in a bunch of money. People show up, they fly from across the world, they support their people, they're energized, they're sitting down for literally a week and a half to 2 weeks of competition. They're enjoying everything, and they're paying hundreds of dollars for these tickets. They were getting a bunch of money when it comes to sales, when it comes to food and drinks and housing and all that stuff. And so these people created the Diamond League. And they said, let's do the same thing on a smaller scale to where we can travel, get all this stuff done. Then they said, okay, we got to cut our losses. We got to figure out how to make more money. And what they did was they did everything they got to do to make their own selves more money using our sport. Here's where I feel that we can make a change. Christian Taylor created a new organization. And I should have took the notes on it, but basically he's creating his own, I believe it's the Athletics Association. And the Athletic Association is the same thing as Diamond League, or it's probably going to be structured in such a way. But it's going to incorporate all of it and be favorable to all events. Now, the part that is troubling is we need people to join into this process. Okay? We need people to be with us and do this. So I've already contacted Will Clay and Coach Jeremy and told them, hey, this year at Elite Fest, if you guys need the space or the stage to speak upon, I will give you guys the floor at Elite Fest. And Elite Fest is my track meet that I run every year. It's a jumps only track meet: pole vault, triple jump, long jump, and high jump. And it's a fun event, all ages, etc. But I told them, you guys are welcome to do whatever you have to do at that event, because we need more events like this and more things to continue our sport. Now, just to be honest, the Diamond League did not completely cut out the triple jump. They actually said they're going to do 2 triple jump events. They don't have, I don't know what the actual location and dates are, but they're going to host triple jump twice. One is going to be for men, one is going to be for women. They're also going to be doing 10 events of the 200. So there are 15 track meets. 10 track meets are going to host the actual 200-meter dash. 5 of them men, 5 of them women. I did not get the 3,000 steeplechase or the discus information, so they're not cut out. Now, if a venue or a meet opts in to have the events contested, such as triple jumping, etc., they're allowed to have that. They can have it. However, it's not going to be aired onto the actual show in that 90-minute window. Meaning, if you do it, great. The problem is, if you're doing it still, you may not be compensated the way that it's typically compensated. So the way the Diamond League works is if you get whatever place, you get paid for that. And if you win a championship, sorry for that background noise, then you get extra. Anyway, so that threw me off. So what Kristen Taylor is trying to do is basically make a version of this to go against it. And obviously, if it is able to pay better, if it's able to be as competitive, then you're going to find that athletes are going to leave the Diamond League and they're going to go. But I'm going to foreshadow and tell you what's going to happen now. The Diamond League is going to see the momentum that Kristen Taylor and this athletic association is building. And they're going to see that they have a chance of going out of business because they made the wrong people upset. And then they're going to adjust and change the things that they're doing. I promise you. They're going to change what they did. Because what they did was they didn't advise the athletes. They advised the media. And the media wants to make money. So the media makes money off of, obviously, commercials from the events. The media are the people that are kind of like me, so to speak, right? I'm talking to you about the event. It's a current event that I'm talking about. If I were to charge you guys for listening to this, right? Or I were to put commercials in this and I would get paid for the commercial advertisement in this video, I have a job. Then I would have a job based off of what's going on with this event. So there are numerous media coverage people. You have ESPN. You have all these different people that make money off of telling the story of this actual league itself. So a lot of money is being passed around, but for some reason, they can't find ways to pay track and field athletes enough money. The average athlete at the professional level makes less than $100,000. And again, the average athletic career doesn't even last that long. You do have your outliers, of course, but still, for the most part, many people aren't developing because they can't, because they don't have the money to pay for a lot of things. You ask a lot of the Olympians, they'll win a gold medal and they'll go home to their 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartment. And you would think that because they're on top of the world, they would have everything, and they don't. But the people that are organizing these events, such as the Diamond League and so on, those are the ones that are receiving the big dollars. I'm really upset and disappointed that that they're trying to monetize the event. Track and field is a pastime. Track and field is a genre that is to be enjoyed by whoever enjoys whatever that they enjoy, if that makes sense. So the piece that I really want to let be known is, in order for us to keep our sport, we have to keep it ours. We're bringing in these people that are just money people that are not part of the sport, and they're making money off of our success. To give you a side story, it's kind of like a parallel story. Steve Jobs, the owner of Apple, he created Apple a long time ago. And what he did was the company got really big. And it got so big, he went out and got a board. And the board of people were the ones that help him, work with financial pieces, marketing, whatever, so he can do his job and be the creative innovator that he is. And what he didn't realize was, once the company got to a certain level, he wanted to keep innovating the way that he always did. And that board said, no, there's a trend. And the trend is what we know. And we're going to remove you from your ability to run our company. And they ended up firing Steve Jobs from his own company. And so from there, like a savage that he is, he designed and created IBM. IBM then became this powerhouse and passed up the level of success that Apple had. So much so that he was able to go and buy out Apple. He brought the whole board on, all the employees onto IBM, gave them all jobs, and brought them on as employees. Then he fired all those people that fired him from his job. That's the most savage move that I've ever heard of. Now Apple is what it is, and rest his soul. But that's the type of things that's happening right now. We've given our sport to money people, to people that think they know how business works. But yes, there is a business aspect of it. But at the end of the day, we gave them the right to control our sport. And now they're controlling our sport and taking away our sport from us. So what needs to happen is not to figure out how to make things work with the Diamond League. It's to create our own league. It's to create our own thing. And I really feel, just to go another side point, that with football having its regulations on taking a knee or whatever else, the kneeling piece has happened. Tim Tebow did it before. Other athletes have done it before, right? But the fact that it was done by a certain type of person or whatever it may be, they put these rules on and made these stipulations that if you do these things, here are the rules. Now, they're not wrong for creating rules because, yes, there is a time and a place to speak and do all those things. But protesting is done at the worst time possible, which is how protesting works. You protest at the worst time possible to bring awareness because that's when you have everyone's attention. Now, whether you agree with it or not, that's not really what I'm trying to debate about. But what I'm saying is the people who run that league can set, change, adjust, modify any rules that they want to change because it's their sport. We as athletes are playing in their sport. Basketball has its organization, and we, the athletes, are playing in their sports. A simple, honest question could be, what if every player were to go on strike and say, we're going to quit this and we're going to start a brand new league? I promise you, the amount of money that these athletes have and the support of the fans are going to be fans of the athletes, not the league. We're not all NBA fans. We're team and player fans. We like, let's just say, the Lakers because LeBron James is on there, because Anthony Davis is on that team. If LeBron were to change teams, we still have a level of respect for the athlete, right? We may not like a team still. I'm not sure if you do or not, but we have an appreciation for that athlete. Now imagine if every athlete were to leave the NBA and go to the Big Baller Brand League, right? Now, that I'm speaking hypothetical, right? I'm just being silly now. But let's just say that were to happen, and they were just to leave and be a part of this Big Baller Brand League. I'm pretty sure a lot of people would be fans of the Big Baller Brand League now. And they would stop watching the NBA because there would be no players in the NBA and they all be in the Big Baller Brand League, right? Or if football were to change for the National Football League and change the whole league to now we're going to be in the Football Association League, whatever you want to call it, right? But this is a huge possibility that the administrators of the NFL, the Diamond League, NBA, and so on, they're afraid of these things and they know these things. The NCAA changed their rules when it comes to 1-year recruitment or 2-year being able to be in college for so many years because of the Big Baller Brand started a trend and people started to become aware and awake that, yes, NCAA is exploiting these athletes. I know I'm going on a tangent now, but let's just stay on it. Louisville basketball 2017 made $46 million. Texas A&M, I'm not sure the exact year, football made, I believe it's $150 million. With that being said, let's just say you give every athlete a full scholarship, out-of-state tuition, give them a $1,000 stipend each month or more, $1,500 stipend. You pay the salary of the coaches, right, for basketball. You still, let's just say, only are paying out, let's just say $6 million when it comes to everything to actually work. That's still $40 million coming into the program. A lot of that money obviously goes to the teachers, it goes to the institution, all that is fine. But the fact that the players only get $1,200 or $1,000 stipend each month doesn't weigh out, right? Jalen Rose talked about it the other day in one of his podcasts that he said the reason why Michigan, when he was a part of that Fab Five, the reason why they didn't wear their names on the back of their jerseys because they knew that people were buying their jerseys, and wearing them, but they didn't get a dime out of that. So they just did the first step of taking the name off the jersey. I'll tell you right now, if I was Reggie Bush when he was in college at USC playing football and doing everything that you could do to be the best ever, and I walked on campus and I see someone wearing my jersey with my name on it, I would have a question of, well, how come I didn't get paid for that? Because that kid would not be wearing that jersey unless it was me. But yet they paid the school, student area, or whatever you want to call it, the student bookstore, they paid them to manufacture and to sell that jersey for $70. And the whole $70 goes to the school off of my likeness. So do I think athletes should be compensated? I do, but I also think there's a whole reason, like it should be a whole bunch of stipulations towards that, such as if you graduate, if you don't graduate, if you finish, you get bonuses and so on, right? But that's a whole other conversation. But to circle this back in to the track and field aspect is we need to make sure that we get our sport and we are the ones that are running our sport and we're the ones that are the board members and never allow this to happen, not just for track, but for all sports. Take our sports back, get them back and keep them ours. If anyone wants to make money off of them, they're welcome to, but it stays our sport. Let's not give away our ownership of our sport. If you have any questions, do me a favor and leave comments below. Have a conversation. I will be watching the comments and responding as much as I can. If you agree, disagree, let me know what you think. At the end of the day, I really feel that we shouldn't partner up with Diamond League unless we have majority say of what can and cannot be done. All right. Till next time.